What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by, spending a few minutes of your time here with me today. Um, I wanted to talk to you guys about attachment to the past, all right? Because having an attachment to the past will affect you in so many ways that you're unaware of. But specifically, I wanted to talk to you about this in regards to your relationships with people. I want to talk to you about other people being attached to your past, you being attached to your own past, and you being attached to the past of others. You understand what I'm saying? So, I want to share with you a few examples of this in my own life, right? I'm trying to show you how this works, how my thought process goes, right? So, I was like meditating last night, and then I started to think about my mother for some reason, right? And I started to think about how it seems like in certain ways that I would like support. My mother, it seems like that's impossible for her. Okay? Like, rarely does she have a positive reaction to good news. Okay? When I told her I was going to buy an engagement ring and propose to my then girlfriend, she essentially told me to never contact her again for any sort of help at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're on your own type of thing. That's how she responded to that. When I told her that my then fiance and I were expecting a child, she said, shit, good luck. Hope you can take care of it. That's how she responded. You know, that's 4 years ago or so, you know. And then even recently, I told her, I said, look, it's already done. I already did it. I pulled out a loan and I'm starting school in 2 months. I'm going to school to be a barber. I'm going to be a barber. And she said, oh, that's cool. And then she sent me an article that said why barbers don't make it through their first year or something like this, right? And I didn't respond to that text, and eventually she texted back and said, cool article. I think you have what it takes. I think you can do it. Okay. And I'm like, why is she like this, bro? Like, why does she refuse to, like, see the progress that I've made? You know what I mean? She always treats me like I'm someone else. She treats me as if I'm still a teenager, right? I probably traumatized my mom a lot, to be honest with you, when I was a teenager. So she's probably stuck there kind of dealing with that, dealing with me as a teenager. She still sees me as this idiot, fuck up kid, you know? And, And so she sort of treats me like this. Everything that I tell her is bad news. It's just more bad news. The only thing that she's ever gotten from me is bad news, or about me is bad news. And so it's sort of like, I can understand it at some point, but she has this attachment to my past, right? And I can understand it because if I really was that past version of myself, all of her complaints, all of her worries and anxieties, they would be totally valid and justified, right? The problem is I'm not that person anymore. I'm somebody totally different. And she can't see that. She can't see me how I am. She can only see me how I was. Right? It's like when you're looking into the night sky at a distant star. You're not really seeing those stars in their current position. They're long gone, buddy. It takes some time for that light to travel from wherever that star was to here for you to be able to see it, right? So by the time the light actually reaches you and you're seeing the star, it has been moved on and you're just playing catch up. And that's what it's like with my mom. I'm so far beyond where she believes me to be, and she can't see it. She can't accept it, you know? So those are where my thoughts took me. And then I started to think, I'm like, but I can't put all this on her. Like, I'm doing the same thing to her at the same time, saying she never has a positive response to good news. I'm clinging on to something. I'm saying, look at what she said to me when I told her I was getting married. Look at what she said to me when I told her we were going to have a baby. You see, I'm holding on. That's an attachment to the past, and it's a very specific attachment to the past, right? And then, right, then I tell her, okay, I took out a loan to go to barber school, and she says, okay, here's an article about this. But then she says, cool. Sounds like you'll be able to do it. There it is. That's the change. She's trying to change, but I was going to ignore it. She's putting her best foot forward, but I was going to ignore it because of my attachment to the past. I was going to continue to say, look, she only ever has negative things to say, but look here, she tried something different. She said, cool. I think you can do it. I think you have what it takes. That's a rare thing coming from my mom, right? So when we get done with this little talk here, I'm going to make sure that I text her and tell her how much I appreciated that. I want to reward her for that sort of behavior, right? It's a beautiful thing. But then I started to think, how many other people have I been doing this to, clinging on to the past of whatever the situation is, right? And bringing it into the current moment, into the present moment, dragging it out, making it harder than it needs to be on everyone, right? How many other people, am I doing this with my wife, right? Am I doing this with my son? Am I doing this with my neighbors? You know what I'm saying? And then I started to ask myself, am I doing this to myself? Is that why it's so hard for me to change sometimes? Because I've locked in some previous version. I'm unable to see myself for what I truly am in the moment, which is something kind of baffling. But I can't seem to let go of all of this stuff, and that stuff holds me back. That's why a lot of us feel like our parents hold us back, or something like this, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend begins to hold you back. It's because they're clinging to some image of you. They become attached to a past version of you when you were perhaps more dependent, more naive, sort of things like this, you know what I'm saying? And now that you're moving forward, it's hard for them to keep up. There's a scripture in the Bible that sort of touches on this and says, you know, a prophet never receives glory where he's from or in his hometown. He always has to leave, travel through various countries, and those people will hear him because to them, he's a stranger, right? They don't know about his past. They don't know him when he was a kid, when he was doing stupid things, when he broke his arm that one time, or when he cried after the girl broke up with him and stuff like this. They never seen any of that. So they can just accept what he's saying, right? It's just like you and I. If you meet a stranger on the internet, you can front, you can put up any facade you want. You could be anyone, and they will believe you. Why not? Let's give you the benefit of the doubt. I don't know this person. Why would they lie to me, right? And if you can make the story come together, if you play the character well enough, they'll believe you. But you can't do that with someone like your mom, who's been around you since the moment you were born and who knows all this stuff about you, right? It's not that they think you're a liar. It's just that your words don't really mean as much to them. They've heard you say all sorts of things. They need to see action. That's the only way that people close to you will understand this. They have to see it in action. And even then, sometimes that attachment to the past is so strong that they still can't see you where you're at, even if you're doing things different. And that sort of is where you're getting on that time where you have to become independent. You have to stop worrying about those people and their thoughts about you and move on, do your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Do it for you and not do it for them, sort of thing. But anyway, yeah, that was sort of the results of my last night's sit-down meditation. I've actually done it 2 days in a row. I did 2 days, then I missed a day, and then I meditated again last night. And I had these thoughts sort of spring up. It kept me up real late, thinking about it. But yeah, this video is almost 10 minutes long. I don't like to talk that long. So anyway, man, until next time, I hope you continue to free your mind.